Welcome to Home Video Hangouts. I'm Cody and I just saw the new movie Abigail. This movie is directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin, who directed other horror movies like Ready or Not and Scream 6. So I was very excited to see Abigail because I watched the trailer for it, and from that it seemed like a movie that combined elements from movies like Knives Out, like some of those murder mystery type movies that get a cast of characters together to kind of solve something when they don't really know too much about each other. Also with a twist of kind of vampire horror action as well. That's what I kind of thought this would be going into it after watching the trailer. And when I first started watching this film, the first thing I noticed and really appreciated was the set design here. This film has a very dark setting that has great ambiance and goes really well with the theme of this movie, and they chose a really great looking set design for this house that the characters spend most of their time in, so I really appreciated that part of it first of all. The second thing that really stood out in this movie was the acting performance of Alicia Weir, who played Abigail. For a child actress, she did really well with this role in all of the varying responsibilities she would have had with this, from acting out being a scared, emotional child, to being a violent, aggressive vampire, to doing a lot of physical feats with the whole ballerina part of this. And so I was really impressed by her performance. She stood out among everyone else in this movie, and that was really impressive to me. Unfortunately though, those couple things were the only positive parts of this movie for me. I mentioned earlier what I was led to believe by the trailer of this movie, but unfortunately most of this movie is not as much about the violent vampire action as it is about the other characters. So I would say at least half the movie, if not 3/4 of the movie, was focused around the cast of characters who were kind of doing this heist, and they all had pretty annoying personalities, and they all spent most of the time in this movie just kind of bickering with each other and insulting each other, and that was really just kind of dull and boring. Any kind of humor they tried to implement just really fell flat and wasn't funny at all. And so there's not much reason to care about the characters in this movie. You learn early on that they don't really know much about each other, and so they start making stuff up about each other, which seemed kind of irrelevant, and it just seemed like they could have done so much better with the earlier parts of this movie and incorporated more action into it, but instead there's just all this drama of building up these characters that just get killed off pretty quickly anyway. I mean, I'm not going to give away who gets killed off and how soon, but you kind of see it coming that not all these characters are going to live, and they're expendable, and we just, there's not much reason to put this much thought into those characters with how they play out in this movie. So unfortunately there wasn't a lot of unique things to enjoy about this film in the same way that there would be when you watch something classic like The Lost Boys that has a really great plot and cast of characters for a vampire movie, and even something like Twilight, which some people love, some people hate, has its own unique spin on this kind of genre, and I think this movie just felt so dull compared to everything else I've seen in kind of the horror vampire space in Hollywood. So my rating for this movie would be a 4 out of 10. It's not the worst movie I've seen, and I appreciate the plot of this movie and what they were trying to do with it, but the poor execution of this movie doesn't justify going to the theater to see it, in my opinion, and I think many people will be disappointed by this movie, and I think there's already a lot of people who are disappointed by the films that are being produced in Hollywood recently, and I don't think this is going to change anyone's minds about that. I think that the cast that was in this movie and the director here are capable of so much more, and they could have done this so much better. And I know this movie has a decent rating on Rotten Tomatoes so far, and there are some people who are appreciating this, so this is just my opinion, but I do think that everyone involved here is capable of something much better, and I do hope that we see better films coming out in this genre. So that's my review of Abigail, but let me know in the comments below if you're planning on seeing this movie or what you think of it, as well as what your favorite vampire movie is. I know there's a lot of them out there now. And as always, if you haven't already, hit the like button and subscribe button down below to make sure you stay updated on my latest videos releasing, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.